I wanted to move to Europe in the spring. So I quit my job and I took on some, part-time contract work, so I didn't have to be in Austin. And I had this great American road trip planned. I was like, I'm gonna go see the Grand Canyon. Can't move to Europe unless I've seen the greatest parts of America. And I was so excited to go on my road trip. But then just 2 days before I was supposed to head out, I made the Cox Not Glocks event, and my life just kind of lit on fire, and it actually delayed my trip for a little bit. But about 2 days into the whole thing blowing up, this angry self-professed anarchist gave out my apartment address and told people to harass me, and told me that if I had a gun by my bed that night, I'd be able to sleep. And so I was like, this is a great time to head out on my road trip. And so I grabbed my tent and my national parks pass and just drove off out west and didn't come back for 3 months. Do you think it's too sacrilegious to call ourselves the Donghorns? Satirical protest that I planned totally by accident. I was just making kind of a dumb knee-jerk joke with my friends, and I was telling them, starting next year, I bet, because even though you can take a gun into class, you can't wave a dildo around class. And I looked up the rules, and it says, sure enough, it's an obscenity to carry a dildo in class, and I just thought I'd point it out. And I created an event. I thought it was just a joke between me and my friends, and I invited a handful of people to it. And then I woke up the next morning and it was gone viral. I wonder if it'll stick to the wall. No! Originally I was very stressed about being asked so many questions about Campus Carry when I knew nothing about it. I told a lot of the media, I said, just give me a day or two so I can form my opinions on it and come back with something intelligent and well thought out, because I don't want to screw this up for people who've been fighting for it for years, who've lost family members to gun violence, for whom this means a lot. So I actually went to a lot of my friends and I was like, hey, here's what I think about Campus Carry. Can I run these ideas by you? Do you think they're stupid? Do they sound crazy and really irresponsible? And they were like, they would help me work out my ideas, they would give me their input, and I would start to slowly understand more and more of what I was up against and what I was dealing with. However, at a certain point, my friends got very annoyed with me. They're like, Jessica, stop asking us questions. You have a functioning brain, you have a college degree, you have ideas that matter, and the reason why this took off is because this resonated with so many people. You couldn't have been that wrong about anything. So if you yourself have vetted your ideas and you have worked them out and you think they make sense, you can't be that wrong. So I feel like if people just use their common sense and think about why they have a problem with it and why other people might think it's important, I don't think anybody's ideas are that wrong. I think everybody's ideas are valid in some position. I think I've been talking to a lot of gun violence prevention organizations that have been around for a really long time now, and they always talk about how it's a little bit hard to get young people involved, mostly because the vast majority of us have never had a bullet whiz by our head. A lot of the gun violence prevention movement is made up of people who've been through some who've been through some shit that nobody wants to ever go through, and that's what turns them into an activist. You have to have had a gun pointed at you. You have to have lost somebody, and it's a very high threshold to cross in order to get involved or to really, really care about this, because otherwise it's pretty easy to forget that there's concealed guns around, But I feel like this dildo protest lowers the threshold a lot, makes it much easier for students to get involved, because if they want to be part of the fun in August, they have to take a position. They have to, come out and say, okay, I really want to be part of this mayhem. I guess I'll think about what I think about Campus Carry, if it's really worth me standing up for it and, carrying this embarrassing, gigantic object that's going to get me stared at. Or is this enough? Is it important enough for me to do this? I think people are upset about this because it was just a big waste of energy. We shouldn't be spending all this time, figuring out the best way to lay down and let people walk all over us, especially when the majority of this university doesn't want it. We've had rules made for us that we don't agree with, and that's not what government's supposed to do in the first place. It's supposed to represent us and defend us, and if our state legislature is not going to do that, at least our university leadership should. So we should have been spending that time and energy and money and effort coming up with ways to better explain to our government that this is not what we want, and this doesn't speak for us, and this is not going to protect us. Okay, another thing that's interesting about this taking place in the universities is that the people who the lawmakers are up against are literally thousands of full-time academics who are the experts in their fields. You know, that's not a group of people that you want to pick a fight with. These are literally people who are probably smarter than you. And going up against this nerd herd, you know, you're literally taking on the brightest minds in the nation, or maybe in the world. We recruit from all over the world. In a university, you're in search for truth, and you're in search of really hard data, and if you don't have data, really logical, reasonable analysis. You know what I'm doing right now is I'm like picking a fight with an invisible person. When I tell you this, and I'm like kind of already bringing up all the points that other people are going to say in return to what I say, I feel like, I don't know why, I just feel like I'm constantly on the defensive now when I talk about these things. I feel like I constantly always have to have a comeback in my back pocket because I know everybody's talking points now. I know what they're going to say in response to what I say. And so, this has been quite an adventure.